This is Delhi. Please stand by for our next program. Welcome tomorrow. All India Radio, in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar, presents the science serial Welcome Tomorrow, based on myriad facets of artificial intelligence. Time now to listen to the 52nd episode. In this episode, we present a discussion on this series and salient aspects of artificial intelligence. The participants are Dr. Nakul Parasar, Director Vigyan Prasar, Dr. Beerendra Tyagi, Senior Scientist, Vigyan Prasar. Vineeta Thakur is moderating the discussion.
Hello and a very warm welcome, dear listeners. You are tuned to All India Radio. The program today is very special. Well, it's special because we completed a wonderful serial which was in collaboration with All India Radio and Vigyan Prasar. This program was very interesting, very gripping, and the fact that listeners participated so heavily in this program goes on to show that this was one program which was dramatically interpreted and was loved by all. And I'm fortunate enough to say that today in the studio we have two stars who were behind the scene and behind the concept of this entire serial. So they are Dr. Nakul Parasar, the director from Vigyan Prasar, and Dr. B.K. Tyagi. So firstly, I would like to welcome them to the studio. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I must congratulate because the program turned out to be so good, and it was not only enriching and gripping, but even a layman found it so interesting that they want to hear it again and again.
Right. So thank you so much.
That's the reason why the last one where we gave glimpses of the programs turned out to be such a popular one. I'm thankful to you all for producing such a wonderful program.
Feeling is mutual, I would say, because we all owe it to our listeners who've been so passionately attached to us. They've been so glued to the whole thing that the testimony of how much have they liked us, how much have they appreciated us, is in form of this pile of letters that Dr. Tyagi is holding in his hands. And I find him struggling, which will not be select, because all of them not only have feedback for us, or not only have a user experience to share with us, but also have a lot of questions which I'm sure are very, very interesting and would not only help them, but also help others to understand and know certain facts that we have been all ignorant about, or we were in the awe of artificial intelligence to that extent that we thought, if not me, somebody else would come and ask it. And now that we have gotten here, I'm sure Tyagi ji will be happy to take it forward. But much before this, of course, before we all get started, I really want to congratulate Dr. B.K. Tyagi for having gotten this program such a caption, such a topic. And I think Dr. Tyagi has mastered that art. I don't have any hesitation in saying that. Over the period of years that he has been coming up with newer topics, newer episodes, clearly indicates that he has something very interesting. When we finish this episode today, he might have something good in store for us, isn't it?
I think let's keep
the surprise. Let's keep the surprise.
So along with me, the listeners are waiting too.
But see, I should be thankful to our listeners because you can see the number of responses which we have received. And one very interesting aspect of because the last segment was based on more on the philosophical premises, like the future AI is holding, what will be the how it is going to change our life and all that.
Right.
So there was no ready-made answer for that.
Absolutely.
So you can see the length of the letter which has been written by the listener. They have 2 pages or 3 pages write-up they have given, and to the answer like what is the concept of smart city in your mind. So you can see like
it's
2 pages, 3 pages.
How they visualize smart city. That's
so
good.
for most of the question you can see we have received in most of the questions which we asked in earlier segments. The answer was already there in the episode. If you have listening the episode carefully.
So it was a little easy for them to select.
But now in this segment, like they were supposed to read something and then write back
Come
to
up
us.
with it, yeah.
So that, I think the one aspect of this serial is like we have encouraged our listener to get a supplementary information about the artificial intelligence, and just to remove some of those myths which are in the mind or apprehension which they are holding about this AI.
Yeah.
So just one letter I would like to read for our listener.
Please, yeah.
This letter is in Hindi, so I'll read it in Hindi and I will try to translate
Explain
also
it, yeah.
in. This letter is by Bharti Naganpure. This is from Madhya Pradesh, Khandwa, Madhya Pradesh. It's a आदरणीय महोदय जी नमस्कार, मैं कुमारी भारती नागनपुरे MA अर्थशास्त्र प्रथम की छात्रा हूँ. आई एम भारती, आई एम ए स्टूडेंट ऑफ MA इकोनॉमिक्स फर्स्ट ईयर, but I am a special child.
Okay.
I mean special child. I am a physically challenged person,
Yeah.
and but I am listening your program regularly, and it is very interesting, and I like this program. ये आपका ये कार्यक्रम मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है, and also I am encouraging my friends to listen to this program, and this is one very interesting reason that we have received so many letters
from
this
Khandwa.
time from the Khandwa this time. So thank you Bharti for helping us becoming our ambassador for taking the cause of science in journal and AI, artificial intelligence in particular, and I hope in future also you will be continuing as our ambassador for encouraging, mobilizing other people to listen to the program. And as in earlier episode, interactive episode, we have discussed that our listener has formed a listeners club. So they are listening the program in groups and then also giving us the reply. Now, based on these questions, because if your letter is selected for as a prize winning entry,
Okay.
based on certain parameters, it is equally if you are asking some interesting question
any
and
question.
it is included in the program,
Yeah.
you are also entitled for that prize.
So do we have questions today?
Yes, there are very interesting questions. First is, because we had an episode on automation, so it's saying, is automation is posing a threat on the employment opportunities?
Well, I don't think so, because if you go back to 1995, 96, when we were all going through computerization in the country, and there were a lot of apprehensions, there were a lot of fears, people were petrified. They kept on saying, oh, now the computers have come in, we'll lose our jobs.
Yeah,
and,
we'll have nothing to do now.
But on the contrary, we had more jobs that came up, and all these 20 years that have gone by, we've all witnessed a surge in newer avenues, surge in newer opportunities, and a surge in how much has the employment gone up in these areas. Similar is in the case of artificial intelligence as well. It's an offspring of the same prodigy that was there in 1995. As a result, there's nothing that I would say and personally recommend, that there is nothing to be fretful about it. Do not fret, and everything's going to be okay, because artificial intelligence is going to bring lots of newer opportunities. And for that matter, it is not that you need to be specialist in coding. It's something that if you are aware of what your domain is, for example, if you are a biologist, if you're a physicist, if you are a sociologist, you can still think of ideas of automating your work process. Thereby, with the help of a person like a data scientist sitting next to you, you could make things easier. You could probably bring in newer applications of artificial intelligence, thereby opening up absolutely a plethora of jobs, a Pandora of jobs for all of you. And artificial intelligence, the way it's changing rapidly, is a testimony to how many jobs it's going to create in the coming times.
Actually, the dramatized version on this concept, we had one character, Preeti, and she's going to marry with somebody. But at the same time, she was working in HR in multinational company, and there was some chutney in the organization. So she was afraid, because the company has buy a software for the better analysis of the biodata and the performances of the people. So she was a bit afraid that she will be the first who will be losing the job.
Apprehensive.
Yeah,
that should
apprehensive.
be
So ultimately, what was done? Then the company sent her for a higher training,
yes,
to
right.
work on that device using with the help of AI, how she can do her work much better without any subjectivity, without any biases.
Absolutely.
So in fact she was not going to lose the job. In fact she was now had to bit orient herself to work with AI, that may be through the machine or through some software.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
just like Dr. Parasar said
Yes.
right now, that you have to prepare yourself
Yeah.
and you have to imbibe the best, all that you can through trainings and all, so that the programs that you do or the work that you do has more finesse, more perfection.
more perfection.
Yeah.
And also the other question very much related to that, like what is the future of AI, like in terms of now it is coming in every aspect of life. So
Yeah, true.
what is the future, in fact, where it will go and what will it lead to us, kind of
So
thing?
we go back to mid 50s when John McCarthy had first coined artificial intelligence. But the moment he coined this, we've realized that over a period of time, we've seen a lot of changes that have happened in computers, a lot of changes that have happened in robotic process automation, a lot of changes that have happened in machine manufacturing, and that is where that has brought us to Industry 4.0. We're now talking about Industry 5.0, right? So with such a rapid changes that we have seen over a period of time, we remember from Industry 3.0 to 4.0, it was a longer period.
Yeah.
But now we see from 4.0 to 5.0, there will be a very little time.
yes, yes.
So this delta, which will be there, which will be very small, clearly indicates that artificial intelligence has a very, very promising future. And not only is a promising future, but will open up so many stories that have been entangled so far, so many problems that have not been solved so far, they would get solved and will open up new paths, new areas, new fields of automation. And that is where life's gonna become simple, easier, and much more efficient than it was. And all of us, we all live for what? We live for more, better, efficient lifestyle. And that is what artificial intelligence
is all about.
is
Yes.
about. That is going to bring it.
I think there's always a debate. It's a very debatable question. They would say, like, we are making machines more and more intelligent.
Correct.
So will there be a time in history or in future where the machine will take over the human beings in terms of intelligence? Because there are a lot of novels, a lot of films which we
Yeah,
watch.
we have been seeing
They are
certain
talking
things,
which
yeah.
are based on, as a film critic, we generally, put it into the category of Frankenstein syndrome, where a person is creating something and then that machine or that devil is try to control its creator itself. So are we expecting this kind of scenario in future, or it has no basis, kind of thing?
To my understanding, and my answer would be a little prophetic in this sense, more philosophical in this sense, because no matter whosoever does it, if you are a creator of something, you'll certainly keep the last answer in your hand.
In your
You'll have
hand.
the last clue in your hand. You'll have the last key in your hand.
Yeah. It reminds me of a folk tale of Uttar Pradesh. I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
no,
You
no, go
continue.
ahead, go
No, no,
ahead,
first
go ahead.
you complete, sir. You
Right.
complete,
No,
sir.
no. So I guess we as creators, as human mind that runs artificial intelligence, would still have the last say. And in that case, to my understanding, no matter today, tomorrow, or day after, the key would still remain with human beings. And no matter whatever kinds of robots or chatbots that you create, would certainly will not be able to supersede us.
That means they will remain under our command and control.
Right.
They
Tyagi,
cannot.
you were about to say.
Yeah,
One
the-
story.
both
Yes,
of us
yes,
are very
yes.
eager to
Eager
hear.
to listen to
that's
that,
interesting. There was a guru who used to teach that wrestling.
Okay.
So he has a lot of this shishyas. So then, after the completion of training, the one student challenges his guru that I can defeat you in the wrestling.
Okay.
So, and it was announced and the whole community was gathered. And so once the fight start, in a second, the guru gave a patakni to Shishya,
yeah.
and he was defeated. And then this Shishya is
was
asking,
shocked.
disciple was asking, how you did that? You haven't
Taught me this.
taught me this. So he said, that's why I'm guru, and guru will remain the guru.
Yeah.
So I think
Keep something
what
to
you-
himself
yeah.
also.
So what you are saying is can be explained in a more simpler and fun way by so there is no one should not have any fear in the mind or apprehension that a time will come when AI will take over the human beings. It will never. because it is created, it is an outcome of human intelligence only. So then if the human intelligence will a organic living thing which machine is not, so which remain, no doubt we are talking about deep learning and all that, but they also have a limitation. I think this kind of scenario will never come in.
So more than the letters, I think the winners are waiting also.
One last question, I think we can take that is again very relevant. It's saying who can be the user of AI. This is again like when you have that information gap of not understanding the potential of, or which in fact all of us are using in one way or the other. So how you answer this question? Who can use the AI?
AI is there in our lives at every moment, every nook, every corner, and hence it would be a little impertinent to say that everybody all around us, they're all users of artificial intelligence, no matter which age, which caste, which color, which creed. All of us enjoy the benefits of artificial intelligence. All of us are users of artificial intelligence. All of us are beneficiaries of artificial intelligence. And I'm sure like everything has a good side and a bad side. I'm sure there would be some intelligent spoiled brains working in artificial intelligence as well, working on the other side as well. But let's look at the positive side. Let's look at the brighter side of artificial intelligence, how it has brought a lot of change in our life, in our lifestyles, in the way we think, in the way we perceive, and in the way we would want our future to be.
So there was a time when we used to write something and we had some problems. Then, we used to ask somebody, we used to call someone and then ask. Now you need not go out of the way to call anybody.
Absolutely.
With just a tip of the finger,
Absolutely.
the correct thing.
Absolutely.
That means like whosoever is having a smartphone, he is knowingly or unknowingly, he is using
Right.
the
AI.
artificial intelligence
Correct.
or AI. So that means anybody can use and it will be beneficial for all of us.
Right.
So true.
Yeah. So
No,
now,
this clearly, reminds me of a latest Hollywood movie called Finch.
Yeah,
Finch,
yeah, yes,
right?
yes,
and it's a
yes.
very interesting movie
Yeah.
where the human being and a robot and a dog, three of them, travel, and they go through a lot of problems. And at the end of it, the human being, person who's there, passes away, and the robot picks up the human being and cremates him.
Oh.
So it clearly answers your question, ultimately who's going to be taking over. So something like, once you're not there, but your prodigy is there, your robot is around, and that interestingly does your last rites.
One reality which you have to accept.
Accept. So that's another very fictionalized kind of a perception about how artificial intelligence would take you through. A very interesting movie, a latest movie, which I'm sure if anybody is interested, should certainly watch that movie.
Yeah, we'll do that. And now the much awaited section has arrived.
Yes, the name of the winners.
Winners,
I think let me announce that. The first name is Durgesh Naganpure from Khandwa, Madhya Pradesh. Then the second is Daisy Sultana. This is Barajal, Ghogarpur, Nalbari, Assam.
Okay.
Then third is Sudha Baral, Masjid Mode, she is from Delhi. And then Archana Divedi, village Jamrehi, Sani, Jalon, post office Majid, Uttar Pradesh. Then Deepak Thakur, Gram Khakal, Tehsil Konch, Jalon, Uttar Pradesh. And Bharti Naganpure, which the letter
one
which
who
we
wrote
have
the letter.
include.
Yeah.
And then the Vishal T. Rathore, Sakuntal Nagar, Jalona, Maharashtra. So these are the 7 winners for the last segment of our radio serial.
Yeah,
on
those who
Welcome
gave
to Mara. Yeah.
descriptive answers
Yes.
and they took pains
Yes.
to write the answers.
Yeah, not
So-
one liner or one word answer, but the detailed answers.
Two
which
pages,
is-
huh?
Yes.
So hearty congratulations all the winners.
Yes.
And because of the content, because of the style, because of the presentation, this series was an instant hit and everybody loved it. But I'm sure this closed down, like it's almost the fag end of the series. It's over. But then the desire to have more, that's there. So like you said in the beginning of this episode, that something is brewing. So we would like to know what is that.
It's always nicer to hear from the mouth of the person who's been conceiving it, the architect.
So
I'll rather disclosing it, I'll rather let it Dr. Tyagi answer it. But just a clue to about it is that we have all come to an end. Doesn't mean that the journey has gotten to a place where we stop, but we move on. We move on to something, to a newer milestone, a newer area from where we'll be talking to you and taking you through something which is very much in continuance of what we have done up until now. And this is nothing very different from what we've been talking about, artificial intelligence, its role that it has played in developing a nation which will become self-reliant, something that a nation would stand on its own feet and take it forward and also outshine and to take us to a point where we've always been contemplating to see India as a Vishwaguru. For that matter, I think it's time for Dr. Tyagi to spill the beans and let you know what we are in for the next. Over to you, sir.
So the focal theme would be on Atmanirbhar Bharat, because we know that was the mission which has been initiated over beloved Prime Minister. So the idea is to what extent we are Atmanirbhar in science and technology, because this is science and technology is the core for any country, for its economical, social and to determine its standing in the international scenario. So to highlight, to create awareness to what extent to make all of us proud that we have what we have done in the field of science and technology, and to what extent we are Atmanirbhar, what we have achieved, what kind of challenges we have faced, which gave us strength to come out of that and become an independent in that area. Suppose like space science, you remember that incident when we were denied the cryogenic engine, it was said that it may be misused for taking the nuclear missiles and all that, but we developed now our own cryogenic engine. We are capable of carrying heavy payload in our PSLV. So that this kind of Atmanirbharta, now we are not dependent on anybody else outside our country. That inside capability is there. Similarly, like in the field of nuclear science. So what we have achieved so far in terms of the nuclear policy which we had, and about the clean fuel energy kind of thing, and the health, medicine and drug development, because you have seen how fast we have developed our corona
vaccination.
Vaccination, and the agriculture and biotechnology. So how they are complementary in one sense, like we have already achieved the self-sufficiency in our food production. Okay, but there are still many areas where we like legumes, pulses and all that, and the oil. Still we have to cover a gap. So how with the help of that science and technology, especially biotechnology, we can fulfill those gap areas and achieve that self-sufficiency, not only production wise, but with a technique wise, development of new variety of seeds and all that, and defense sector, then energy, then to what extent, what kind of science we have given to the society. One is like making that drinking water available to each and everybody, and then astronomy and those international projects, big international project in which we are equal partner, in terms of our capability of either developing the tools, technique or designs, etc., or the material. So these are some of those areas. And then infrastructure development, every day we are creating new records in the road making, tunnel making, etc. So how, to what extent make us capable in terms of doing our own task without any outside support. In fact, we become now the exporter for those kinds of things to many countries.
So this will be the theme of the coming series.
Yes.
Which
to what extent science and technology we are already independent, Atmanirbhar, and towards what we are heading for. So these kind of things we'll be covering. So each will be there will be so many segments in that, some episode in each in detail through docudrama format. We will be discussing. It will not
be received in a real big way, because when it's in a docudrama format, everyone tends to identify with the characters, and then it's there for good. It stays in your mind. So will the duration be same as
this? And I think it will be broadcast on the same frequency also. Same radio station. I think it's around 121
different languages,
19 languages.
Oh, great.
And the time may differ because of the time availability. So for that, our listener has to contact their regional AR station for more detail, and that will also be available on our website. So as soon as after a short break, we'll announce the broadcasting date and the other schedule also.
Oh, that's very exciting. So with this 52nd episode, our listeners get a bonus. They get this wonderful news of the new series coming up after a short break. But then I thank you two, and we hope that the next broadcast, the next serial will be equally popular. It will be taken in the right spirit, and it will be inspiring the way the earlier serials have been. So I thank both of you, Dr. B.K. Tyagi and the director, Dr. Nakul Parasar ji, for coming here and sharing your wonderful thoughts and such lovely information. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much,
and
look
looking forward to meet you again
on the other side of this program.
Yeah.
Welcome tomorrow. You were listening to the 52nd episode of the science serial produced by All India Radio in collaboration with Vigyan Prasar. In this episode, you heard a discussion on this series and salient aspects of artificial intelligence. The participants were Dr. Nakul Parasar, Director Vigyan Prasar, Dr. Beerendra Tyagi, Senior Scientist Vigyan Prasar. Vineeta Thakur was moderating the discussion. Do share your feedback on the program. You can mail your opinion by a simple post to this address: Science Serial, Welcome Tomorrow, Vigyan Prasar, A50, Institutional Area, Sector 62, Noida 201309. You can also write to us on our email ID radio@vigyanprasar.gov.in. Do write your full name and address. This broadcast came to you from All India Radio, Delhi.